Nameplates are one of those things I really like to see in a model kit. It gives you kind of that display appeal. It's kind of like it's in a museum piece, and who doesn't want to feel like their work isn't museum worthy? So, and when you set up your models, it's kind of like you got your own little museum. I like that. So today we're going to be talking about nameplates. Um, so I have a, a process for this. Now, I'm making this video not so much as a tutorial, but as a documentation of my process. So let me jump into it here. The first thing I do with nameplates is I will take, because in the injection molding process they use a release agent that could mess with your paint job, I take some Windex, wipe it down, and then I come back over it again with water, wipe that down, just to get off any possible release agent. Then I will prime it with, in this case, I'm using Tamiya White Surface Primer, which I think gives a good canvas. If I was working with a darker color, I might use a gray. And probably gray would be okay. But I think I just like the white better, especially if there are brighter colors involved. Then I'll go over with the color that I'm using for my letters and my border. In this case, I'm using Vallejo Model Color Brass. And this one to me just looks like a museum plaque, like the brass plaques that you would see. So I really like this one. Now you can use whatever color you want. You build up a few layers of that. Then you go over, I use about 4 coats of clear. This is a Tamiya TS13 clear. And that builds up kind of a layer to protect the brass underneath. Once that's done, I mask off the border because it's just, why worry about cleaning up something if you can just mask it off? Much easier to deal with. Then I'll go over it with my background color. I'll use multiple light coats of, in this case I'm using Tamiya X18 semi-gloss black. And so that to me has the right look for a museum nameplate. Lastly, well, not lastly, almost lastly, then once you've got the background the way you want it, then you've got to clean off the letters. And for that, I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. Now, when you do this, you want to squeeze off any excess off the Q-tip, because if you don't, it'll get on the background and it'll take the paint off the background, which you don't want. You just want enough to be able to get the letters clean. And don't press too hard on the letters, because if you do, you'll go all the way back down to the plastic, and everything will be for naught. Lastly, once you've got that done, you can remove the masking tape. You might have some touch-ups to do either on the background or on the lettering or the border. And then you're done. And then you end up with something kind of like this. Now I'm still practicing, so it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. You can clearly see the letters, and I think it has a good look for it. So that's the process. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this has been primed, and as you can see, painted with a brass. So I'm always refining my processes, and one of the things that I've done here is I've been using a very stiff bristled paintbrush to dry brush the letters, and just really the letters, because the background's going to cover everything else. So the next thing I'm going to do is apply several coats of the Tamiya Clear TS13 on this. I'm going to do a couple of coats on the back and then a bunch of coats on the front. And again, that's to protect the brass layer from when for when I apply the black background, so that when I clean off the letters, there's something between the brass and the black on top to kind of protect the letters. So that's where we're going next. The nameplate is done. There was a little bit of touch up that had to be done, but it actually came out pretty good. So hopefully that's in focus and you can see it. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. Letters came out pretty good. So this may have been the best nameplates I've done so far. So again, this is not so much a how-to, but a documentation of how my process and how I do nameplates. So hopefully you'll find that useful. If you have any suggestions of better ways to do this, please let me know. I'd like to hear them. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this, and stay tuned for more adventures.